Hello and welcome to Empowered the Podcast. I'm your host, Linda Brand. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited for today's interesting conversation with somebody new and different. Here on Empowered the Podcast, we talk a lot about healing, growing, evolving. We talk about women empowerment, our energy healing, and coaches and authors and all these people, which I absolutely love. And today I have a unique guest. His name is David Weiss, and he is known as Flat Earth Dave. And we are going to talk about all the things that he wants to talk about regarding the flat Earth models, debunking space exploration, personal experiments, geocentric cosmology. And he also has a podcast, and you can find him at flatearthdave.com. And I'm super excited for this conversation. Welcome, David, to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Linda. Glad to be here I love talking about this with people that think it's the greatest thing ever. It's changed their lives, and people that have no idea, and people that think that it's the dumbest thing ever. Because, before the show, you said, we're talking about believing in the flat earth. I don't believe in the flat earth. I know that it's not a globe. I know that we live on a topographical plane. I know lots of things, and I also know that I don't know lots of things. People that defend the globe think they know everything, but when you ask them, hey, what's the radius of the earth? How fast is it spinning at the equator? How far is it from the sun? How did they figure that out? How big is the sun? How fast is the sun traveling? How fast is their orbit? They don't know any of these things, but they'll go ahead and defend the ball religion. Like you're trying to steal a ball from them. It's like taking a ball away from a child. And once you actually look, and I, by the way, I'm not picking on anybody, because that's how I was. When people suggested on my Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast that we looked into all conspiracies, have you looked into flat Earth? I deleted those comments. I banned those people from even commenting, because the fact that they wanted me to look into flat Earth is the dumbest thing ever. Well, 10 years later, here I am talking to you as Flat Earth Dave. Okay. And those of you that stick around and hear it out, I guarantee you're gonna see things that you've never even thought of before.
Yeah, well, that's why we're gonna hopefully have open-minded people listening. But I have a couple questions. Number one is, how did it change your life? Because you made a comment and you're just now saying that it changed your life. How did it change your life? And then the other thing I want to say is, when you ask people all these questions, like if you were to ask me, I would say, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert, but I do believe it's a globe because I went to the planetarium, and because this is what science shows us, and this is what I believe because it seems to make sense. And, but I'm not an expert. But how did it change your life? And then we'll dive in deeper.
Yeah. So you said a lot of things. You believe it because science is a word, but science actually means something. And, the flat earthers actually use the scientific method. Heliocentrists only use they use what we call pseudoscience. So you said you went to the planetarium, so you went to the IMAX movie theater, and you believe the Earth is a globe because they showed you a movie on the ceiling, and they told you a story.
Yeah, at school.
Yeah, in school, and so I wrote the book of BS. It's this thick, okay? And I'm going to give it to you, and you're going to study it for a year, and then we come back and we do a test, and you get 100 on the test. You are now have a degree in the book of BS, and now you can go teach it to everybody else. So your teachers, your astronomy teachers, everything, not lying to you. They're being told stories about the light phenomena in the sky, and that's all you can really call it, what it is and everything. And they think that they're experts because they memorized and regurgitated what they were told to memorize and regurgitate. And then, we could look at the lights in the sky. You could look at the sun and say, okay, it's 186,000 miles across and 93 million miles away. Or you could say it's 30 miles across and 3,000 miles away. It would look the same. So both of those, I think, are wrong.
Okay.
So there you
go. So what is that image behind you?
Oh, this right here, this is just a representation of looking straight down on the earth. So we have South America here. And the sky is a perfect clock. And the sun goes around in a circle. And so does the moon. as you can see. And wherever the sun is, it's noon. So right here in Sydney, Australia, it's early morning. The sun's rising. It's getting closer. It's getting higher in the sky. And now it's noon in Sydney and it's midnight over
Okay.
here,
Next
right?
question I come up
Go
with.
ahead.
Why would they teach us? What reason are they, you call it BS, but like, why would they be
Why
telling?
would they lie? Why would they lie? Yeah, so we can do a whole show on that, and I'm going to give you some answers. But this is my app, by the way, which all the information is censored on YouTube on the internet. You won't find any of this, and there's a section called "Why the Lie." But I'll tell you why the lie right now, because if you believe you live on a heliocentric ball floating through an infinitely expanding universe, you've basically diluted creation, right? So the truth is you got two truths. Once upon a time there was nothing. It exploded and became everything. Everything organized and became, and humans came from amoebas that turned into fish, and fish grew legs, and they came out and had a monkey, and the monkey had a human. That's what they teach us in school. That's crazy. And all of this is just randomness in an expanding universe. So you're insignificant. You're on a planet which is a prison planet. It's a prison for your mind because you
That
think
I
that we're
believe.
overpopulated. Yeah, we're over. They tell us we're overpopulated. We're running out of fuel, running out of food. We're an asteroid can hit us at any moment. All of this stuff is to keep us in fear and from living to our full potential. When you find out that you're at the center of creation and that this place was created for us and that we have great power and our minds actually create our reality, they don't want you to know that. Your thoughts create your reality. Look at your life. You've created it with your mind. And they
Do
don't
you
want us to
study?
realize the true power that we have. Go
Do
ahead.
you,
Sorry. Go ahead.
that's okay. No, do you study the Course in Miracles? You
Oh,
believe?
yeah. That's good. That's good. So I'll give you a quick backstory. Um, I
Yeah.
was watching lots of spiritual stuff and The Secret and The Power of Now and all that stuff. And one of the things they were talking about is vision boards. And I just poo-pooed vision boards. All right, all right. And finally I made a vision board and I wrote down all the things I wanted on it, right? I just wrote down everything. And one of the last things I wrote is, and I was working in corporate America at that time, I want to be the CEO of my own company. And at that time, I didn't even know what a CEO did. And I kind of giggled when I wrote it down, right? 5 years, I kind of looked at it all the time and it kind of just ended up in my closet. And then 5 years later, I found myself in my office of my company that I started with a couple partners, balancing the books for the month. And I realized I'm the CEO of my own company. Right. All of this stuff it just happened, not in the path. You want a good laugh, plan your course in life and then see what God delivers you. It'll be different. You may end up there, but it won't be the same path, right? And so all of these things kind of manifested in my life, and then I had everything I always wanted, everything I was told. It was all about money and power, and the American dream. That's what I was told the American dream is. And then I got it all. I had a great, successful company, expanding, growing. We're number one in our industry on this side of the country, and I decided to walk away from it all to send this message out, because this is the message that changes everything. Because we're stuck in a slave system, and with all of the atrocities going on in the world, with child trafficking, the homelessness, the wars, and everything, people say, Dave, why are you focused on flat Earth? There's bigger problems in the world, and the reason is the way the elite, the controlling elite that they call themselves, get away with this is because the globe lie is the foundation of all the lies. If you're disconnected from creation in a diluted creation, you give away your power. And the truth is, we have free will, and they can't take it from us. We only can willingly give it away.
Okay. What was I'm a curious being, and it works when you're in podcasting. What kind of company did you have that you shut down to do this?
Well, I didn't shut it down. I left. I had two partners, and my truth journey was kind of getting in the way. My partner was not red pilled at all, and he didn't like all of the attention it was bringing towards our company. And I made the right choice to walk away because I was going after things that would affect our business. And we were a commercial solar power development company where we'd identify jobs, contract them, build them, and manage them and finance them.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, yeah.
And then so part of how this this information changed your life was because you became more powerful,
Well,
or
when
no,
you,
like,
when you have your feet planted on the ground, and you know who you are, you know what this place is, you take your power back, right?
mm,
So, you know, nobody likes having their ball taken away, but I say that the three benefits are, what has flat earth done for you? That's kind of what you're asking me, right? I'm more at peace because I'm no longer afraid of all of the nonsense that I see going on in the world. I look at it as a puppet clown show. It's literally a clown show. Greater sense of freedom because I know that there's more. I know that we're not contained on a ball. There's probably more land, more civilizations. There's infinite amount of resources.
yeah.
There's infinite amount of exploration
Mm,
and a closer connection to the creator. I kind of did not have a connection to the creator. I don't even want to use the word atheist, but I was kind of an atheist where I didn't believe in anything. I still don't
yeah.
follow any organized religion, but we are all part of this living system. You know how they say the earth is alive? It's way more than that. The entire sky, earth, and us are part of a living system.
Yeah. Do you believe in astrology, and do you believe in like aliens?
So that's a great question. So I used to laugh at astrology and go, astronomy is the real science. Astronomy is pure pseudoscience. When you look at it, even Michio Kaku says astronomy, theoretical, astronomy, there is like off by 10 to the 200th power, some ridiculous number. It's like they're incorrect on everything. And astrology, which I used to laugh at, I was like, well, how can Mars in retrograde 400 million miles away from us, or whatever the number is, affect me? It's a rock. How can it affect me? But the truth is, everything is here circling over the flat Earth, and all of the wandering stars, aka planets, are named after gods. So this is part of a living system, and astrology is the most powerful tool. It says, millionaires have advisors and billionaires have astrologers,
Mm,
right? Some saying like that.
wow. Yeah, no, I know an
Yeah.
amazing astrologer. She is a brilliant soul, and she did my reading, and it was so phenomenal.
So
And she's
let me say one
yeah,
thing on
yeah,
astrologers is they talk about the movement of the planets. They look at the movement of the planets, but in the heliocentric model, the Earth is moving in four different directions at once, never to be where it was before. But astrologers never take into the motion of the Earth. And the truth is, the Earth isn't moving; everything is circling above us. But you can make formulas that say, "Oh, the Earth is moving, and the other things aren't moving," or whatever. But the Earth is moving. And I know astrologers that have found flat Earth and have become more powerful astrologers. Once
mm,
you see that everything is moving except the Earth and
mm,
know it, then you can make better
yeah.
readings.
So I have a couple questions. Yeah. What what evidence do you have?
What evidence do I have that the Earth is not a globe? So if you have a ball, it has physical curvature. So at a certain distance, things will be behind the curve. Like right now, you can't see my mouth because it's behind a physical curve, right?
Right?
So the Earth is, they say it's at the equator, 24,901 miles around. And if you look at the curvature formula for that, that means a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of perfectly calm water, and I use water because the Earth is 70% water, and there's no curvature on that water. There should be it should drop 6 feet at just 3 miles. That's globe math. 6 feet at 3 miles. But you know that we can see farther than that. And so when I first was looking into flat Earth, trying to disprove it, not even trying to see the truth, I was just trying to disprove it. Um, I found I got a super zoom P900 Nikon camera that had just come out at the time, and I zoomed in on a buoy that was over 10 miles away. Well, that buoy should have been over 60 feet below the curve. At 10 miles, it's 66 feet of curvature. And I shouldn't have been able to see it. But not only could I see it, I could see the water behind it. So here's a little experiment. This is a lake, frozen. Guy went out on the lake. His camera is 6 inches off the lake. He put these lights out here at 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles away. According to globe math, rounding down, giving the globe benefit they claim refraction and all this nonsense. These lights should be 30 feet below that physical curve, like you couldn't see my mouth, 22, 15, and 9, but they all show up at the same level. So you have to believe that this one's refracting up 30 feet, this one's refracting up 22, 15, and 9 feet, and they all just show up, right? The Glober's argument for the reasons that we can see too far is refraction, and things refract up at the same exact curve rate of the Earth. Isn't that amazing? They
Yeah,
refract up at the
lost me.
same curve rate. It's so
Yeah,
silly. It's so
yeah, it's
silly.
interesting. I want to hear a little bit about your upbringing or childhood if you want, and also
Sure.
like education and things like that. And when did you start learning about this? When did this start for you? When did you start this mission? And how many people have you converted? Because I'm on the fence right now.
Well, listen, at the end of this podcast, I don't expect you to believe that the Earth is flat, because that's belief is the enemy of knowing. Belief is the lazy man's knowing. If you believe something, like you believe I live in Connecticut. Before the show, you asked me where I live. I said Connecticut. That's a belief. Now, if we had to go and verify everything in life, we would never get anything done. But you believe I live in Connecticut because I told you. But to verify, it takes time. So I'm going to tell you some things. They're going to make a lot of sense, but you need to go verify before you believe. But I don't think I answered your question. The question was, what was the exact question?
It was, when did this begin for you?
Right. Yeah. So it began in kindergarten or in first grade, or I think it was kindergarten or first grade. The teacher took us outside and was demonstrating gravity. He had a bucket of water and a rope, and he swung it around, and the water didn't come out of the bucket. It went over his head. He said, "That's gravity." And I said, "But wouldn't the water have to be on the outside? Because the water is on the outside of the ball. It's not on the inside." And the teacher goes like this. He goes over and gets the book, and he points to me the highlighted area. He goes, "This is how I'm told to teach it. So this is how I'm going to teach it. But you keep asking questions." And then I went on the swing set and played and forgot about it for 40 years. Yeah. And so 20 years ago or so, maybe more, I started looking into what is money. And I watched the show Money Masters, and I realized that money is nonsense. Then I got into the IRS, the Federal Reserve, find out that they're just private banks, and it's all a big scam. So I started talking about that stuff in our lunchroom at this corporation I was working with my buddy, and every day more and more people would gather around, and it got like out of control to the point where my buddy goes, "Hey, we have an opportunity to be on a podcast in New York City, start a podcast." And I was like, "What is a podcast?" I didn't even know what a podcast was. And so we started Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast, looking into all sorts of conspiracies. Fast forward, I was in 2014, 2015, they started sending me flat earth stuff, and I refused to watch. Then I kind of verified it for myself. It took me 2 weeks of really trying to disprove the flat earth and prove the globe, and I couldn't do it. And so it just became more and more of, I don't want to say an obsession, but an obsession, because this affects every single person every single day. It does. And it changes your life. People say they're programmed. You said something before that was programmed, but here's a program. What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. That's what people say. We've been programmed to say that. And it makes all the difference in the world, because if you don't know where you are, you're spinning out of control, lost in space in the back of your mind. If you believe in nuclear bombs and asteroids and all of this nonsense, then you're living in fear, and you're giving your power away to the government. Govern, control, ment is the mind, right? Government wants to get above you and above God. Government's not above you. Government's below you. The only thing above you is God, and that's it. And so they're already above 90, a huge percentage of the, people that aren't awake. And people just give. They just give everything to the government. They give all their money to the government. They do everything, and they comply when they don't have to.
Yeah.
So this is a spiritual thing. This is a spiritual war.
So tell us some evidence. Did you already do that with the?
Well, I showed you. There's no curvature. We've proven, we've measured it. So the only answer to that is the Earth has to be bigger. But we have observations of things that are that would make the Earth have to have a radius, that's a line from the center to the surface, of over 4,000, no,
what about
400,000 miles. And they tell us the radius is less than 4,000. It would have to be 1,000 times bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. It's crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I remember talking to a guy on online dating and he was really into this too. And he just was over the top about it. Um,
Well,
just
it,
saying.
it- when
Yeah,
you ask how many people are on
yeah.
it,
How
this
many
is on
people?
my app. I have what's called the Friend Finder. We actually have a dating section on here. These are all the people around me that have my app. But if I click the number on the bottom, we have 204,000 people on here. And so, looking at the United States, these are flat earthers. These are all flat earthers, right? These are people that know 100% that we don't live on a spinning globe. Here's the UK. Can't even see it anymore. And this is growing and growing, and
Wow.
nobody ever leaves flat Earth. It sounds like a cult. It's not. It's
No,
a
no,
truth that you
I
can't unsee.
understand. I understand the programs and the conditioning and all the fear. I don't watch the news. I understand the fear that, is being put into us. That's literally all that you find on the news. Like it's all fear.
False evidence appearing real,
Yeah.
right?
But um most people,
Yep.
minus the ones you showed me on your screen, most people think the way, we've been
Most
taught.
people don't think.
Well, they think the way we've been taught. And when a couple of the friends that I reached out to, male friends, to ask questions on this topic, it was really interesting. Their responses were very negative and very like, oh, is he stupid? And oh, what evidence,
Is that their best globe proof? Is what I always
uh,
say. That he's
it's
stupid.
something
He live in your
like
mother's basement.
they don't
Right.
even want to ask anyway. But so what about water on flat surface? So it just,
Water at rest always lies flat. Period. The Earth is 70% water. There's no measurable curvature. We can see submarines at the bottom of the ocean can see another submarine over 100 miles away. There would be a mountain over a mile high of dirt in between them.
so
But for
there
some
is no
reason,
gravity, right? There's no
well,
gravity or
we'll
there,
talk about that in a
okay,
second.
okay.
You asked for a proof. That I was just showing you
Yeah.
mountains in the distance there in that last picture that were over 700 miles away. The tops of those mountains should be over 50 miles below the curve, but we can see them all. They all line up perfectly, and mainstream won't even touch that. Here's a spot in Alusia, France. Follow me for a second. So the sun migrates from the Tropic of Cancer, which is in closer to us in the north, and it migrates out for 6 months to the Tropic of Capricorn during our winter, and it's Australia's summer because the Tropic of Capricorn goes right over Australia. And twice a year, the sun lines up with the camera. I mean, with this spot and Mount Canigou. So Mount Canigou is 175 miles away, and according to globe math, from this elevation, the top of the mountain should be over half a mile below the curve. Well, we can't see Mount Canigou, therefore the Earth must be a globe, right? But on those 2 times a year, when the sun lines up, speed it up a little bit, as it goes away, it backlights Mount Canigou, and here's the entire mountain. The top of the mountain right there should be over a half a mile below the physical curve. The reason you can't see it is because the light that bounces off of Canigou isn't strong enough to travel 175 miles through the soup of the air. But the sun is bright enough to push that far. And so it backlights it, and we can see it. The globe explanation for this, ready? And that's where we'll talk about my t-shirt in a second. The globe explanation is the sun already set. The sun's already below the earth. The mountains already is below the earth, and the sun is refracting up. So you're seeing it refracted up. And somehow the mountain is refracting up and blocking the sun. Okay. The reason you can't figure that out is not because you don't have a degree, because it's stupid. You're not stupid. It's stupid. The whole heliocentric model told you by people in lab coats and have degrees, and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, right? They make you think that they have degrees and they know something. They tell you stuff, calculations and stuff. They're like, oh, you're not smart enough to understand it. And you go, well, I don't have a degree. They do. And then you just throw up your hands and you give up, right? It's stupid because it's stupid. It's not that you're stupid.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree about the education part. That doesn't make you smart. Um,
Right.
and I mean, some of the wealthiest, not that that's everything, but are not college educated. Um, what
And
I wanted to ask you was about the other planets. So,
planets. We can talk about planets. Yeah, what other planets? The planets that NASA or the one that Disney show us? Because those
oh,
are the only
oh,
two places that show us planets.
oh, okay. Um, okay. And well then, so in the planetarium, that's all just BS.
It's all BS because we have a dome above us. So in the planetarium, they put a dome above us and they project the stars. You're in a giant IMAX theater and they're telling you a cool story about Narnia.
Okay. And then what about the
Yeah.
moon? Did they travel to the moon?
The moon is at the time of recording, we have a pretty large moon waning right now. So go out and look at the moon tonight, and you'll see that it's right there in our sky. It's not far away. It's not 238,000 miles. I don't think the moon is a physical object at all. I think it's a projection into our system. Then we all see it in a unique position um, to ourselves, and it's always facing you no matter where you are across the plane. People say, well, why is the moon's upside down in Australia? Therefore, Australians are upside down. So what I say is, go in your living room and draw a smiley face on the ceiling and stand at one end of the room and look at the smiley face. And then walk to the other end of the room and look at the smiley face. Now it's upside down, right? Does that mean the room is spherical, or you're just looking at it from the other side of the room? The moon
Mm,
and the sun circle in between these two yellow lines, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So when you're here in the north, you look at the moon, you're seeing it one way. And when you're here in the south, you look at the moon, you see it the other way. It's very simple. It's
interesting.
very, very simple. And the light from the moon, if when you actually start looking at, like why the moon is so bright, I can read by it in the middle of nowhere. And and it casts my shadow on the ground, but it's reflecting sunlight, right? But then when you look at the stuff that they tell us, that they show us, you look at the moon in the sky, it's right there. It's in our sky. There's blue sky beyond it. So what are you looking at, right? And when
What,
you look at it at
what
night, uh, there's clouds. Look, it's only lighting up the clouds that are near it. The clouds over here are in the dark. It's a local light. Now, again, any claims, absolute positive claims about any of the luminaries, sun, moon, and stars, are just claims. Nobody knows because nobody can go there. Nobody can go there.
so they never went to the moon?
No, nobody's ever been into space because space doesn't exist.
So all that was made up because why?
Because it's all to make you, they in the 1950s, 40s and 50s, they started discovering what's out in Antarctica. And instead of letting people focus on that, because that would actually show us where we live, they go, oh, we're going to the moon. And they went to the moon, supposedly, they walked to the moon. That's just to make you believe that you can live on a ball floating in space. It's to make you believe in the globe lie. And I say the sky and all the luminaries and everything in it is God's mind, if you will, and it's God's kingdom. And they're trying to pervert it. The NASA and the government all together. It's very satanic, and they're literally trying to pervert it. They're trying to put physicality in a non-physical place. Um, think about this. Here's the Earth right here. So the sun. Now this is two separate pictures. The moon is a separate picture. So the sun is shining down on the Earth, which means the sun is shining down on the moon. So this is taken from the moon. Well, where's the brightness of the moon? How come the moon isn't bright? Here's a picture of the moon, full moon. Look how bright it is. Look how it's so bright. It would be brighter when you're closer to a light. It's way brighter. The moon would have to be it's something like 60 times brighter than we see the sun for us to see the moon at the brightness that we see it.
But
The numbers,
the moon's only out in the dark, right?
no, it's not. It's out during the day.
Oh,
2 weeks of the month, every month, it's out during the day.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's not bright because it is a bright day, so you can't
Well,
see.
but at nighttime, this is nighttime, right?
Okay.
Look how bright the moon is, right? So these guys are on the moon.
Oh,
It would have to be, you have to think that this amount of light
so
is
they
going
weren't
to
on the moon. Were they anywhere? Did they go in?
No, they were in Houston. That's where they were.
They never left. They never shot the rocket and went anywhere.
No one has ever been on one of those rockets, any of them. They're all fake. Now, listen, that's a lot to take in right here.
Yeah.
If you go to flatearthdave.com, you can find my app there. The app has moon missions, it has NASA nonsense, it has tons and tons of stuff on it, but you don't even have to get my app. Scroll down until you see a big picture of me and it says crash course. And there's a list of videos there that YouTube will never serve you. They're hidden. Right?
Oh,
Watch the first 3 videos. I offer three for those, your guy friends that are listening, whoever. I offer 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. All you got to do is give me 1 proof, but you have to watch the first 5 videos in that crash course list. So you have to watch the daily video on the app. Every day there's a daily featured video. While you're having your breakfast, having your coffee, watch the featured video right here. Yeah, there's a video each day. And watch that for 2 weeks before you send it to me. And before you send it to me, hit the frequently asked questions button. Make sure your question isn't answered in here because it probably is. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you're not even going to submit a globe proof to me because you're going to realize the Earth is flat.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're pretty convincing. It's very interesting. I know.
Linda, I want you at the end of this to say that was interesting. You've got me thinking. I need to
Yeah.
verify some things. Do not say I believe you at the end of
No,
this. At
no,
the end
no.
of this.
I'm not going
Okay.
to believe you. I mean, people can tell me, no, of course. I agree with you on the belief thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's just interesting. I'm very curious and I'm an open-minded person. So, especially if my son, who I consider highly intelligent, has beliefs like this. Um, and I don't remember like how many years ago did this?
2014. So 10 years. 10 year. I've been fully researching and discovering what this place is for 10 years. Um, and I forget who it was, Eddie Bravo or somebody said maybe it was Sam Tripoli, I forget. They said when he discovered flat Earth, he was kind of like bummed out because he's like, wow, I'll never have my mind blown that hard again because there's nothing bigger than discovering, that. But then there are
Who's
bigger
that? Is that
mind
a
blowers.
celebrity or who is that?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, Eddie Bravo, he's a comedian. He owns like 100 gyms. He's like a celebrity. I call him a celebrity. And then Sam Tripoli has the Tinfoil Hat podcast. It's a giant podcast. But one of those guys, I forget which one said it, and it's a great comment, and I like quoting it because I was like, wow, this is the biggest thing ever. There's other big things on flat Earth, from giants to no dinosaurs to the old world to
Oh,
all sorts of stuff.
oh, no
Mind blowing.
dinosaurs?
On,
No, there
on,
were
on
never
the
dinosaurs?
There was never dinosaurs. They used a dinosaur hoax as to do 2 things: to hide the discovery of giant human bones, because there were giants here and not that long ago. Some still might be here, and to hide the truth about dragons. Right here on the app is a button. It's a griffin, and it takes you to the old world section. On the app, it's right here, Old World Order. On my website, there's a big banner that says Old World Order. Watch that video. It's free. Just watch it. Go to my website, click Old World Order. But I warn you, if you watch that movie, the rabbit hole is so deep, you're never coming out, ever. Right?
That's
Ever.
wild. That's wild.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of stuff. Another great channel, look him up on YouTube, My Lunch Break. Blow your mind. It'll absolutely blow your mind. And then you'll walk out and you'll never be able to go outside again, even in your hometown, and see the world the same. Because in your hometown, I guarantee there's old world buildings that were built before Christopher Columbus got here, right? Which is another hoax, right?
Yeah, I want to touch on what you said because it really resonates with me about the mental, about the mind, and creating our realities. Can you speak on that a bit?
So your thoughts actually create your reality. When everything is interconnected. Have you seen the experiments where they take like a drop of blood and bring it across the world, and then when somebody has like an experience, the blood reacts also, right?
Yeah.
There's like everything is interconnected, right? And so your
Meaning,
thoughts actually create your reality. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, I do believe that. It's just
Yeah.
learning to choose your thoughts consciously because you
Correct.
have desires and you want things, but we have a default of the conditioning and the programming from 0 to 7 when we were sponges and recorders from our
Right.
parents and the energies around us. Yes. So that's my sometimes challenge is I want to unlearn all these things so that I can, you know, choose and make anyway, because what you focus on grows. So if you focus on what you want, you will be closer to having it versus focusing on your fears of what you don't want. Your worries is praying for bad. But yeah, go ahead.
Let me comment on that. So we live in an energetic world. We are all energetic. Everything is electrostatic. It's charged. It's all an energetic world. I don't believe that we can go up in this, far high up into the sky, maybe even as high as we're able to go. I don't think humans can survive up there, even in, protected environment, or maybe we just can't get there. Energy flows where attention goes. I'm sure you've heard that.
Yes.
And your thoughts create your reality. If you focus on lack, you attract lack.
Right.
Right. Let's say you were feeling angry, right? And you just weren't having a good day, and you're going to a social gathering, you're going to this big party, whatever, and you're kind of just like down upon everything. You're gonna get surrounded by other people that are like, oh yeah, screw that, and the news, and oh yeah, and and then somebody comes into the party who's happy and bubbly and just having a good time. You can look at that person and go, you're just not gonna like it, and they're gonna attract different people. So your thoughts create your reality, and it's even more magical than that. Like everything you have in your life, you brought into your life with your thoughts. And people go, well, I want $1 million. And basically what they're saying is, I don't have $1 million. I'll never have $1 million. I'm going to live paycheck to paycheck, and eventually I'm going to be homeless. That's what they're really sending out there, because nobody wants $1 million. People want freedom. People want joy. People want love, right? And these are the things that you need to focus on. You need to focus on the feeling of freedom, right? You don't say, if I had $1 million, I'd be free. No. What would it feel like if you didn't have to worry about money? What would it feel like if you had that perfect partner? Instead of going, I'm never going to find that perfect partner. What would it feel like? And then you have to live that feeling. It's putting the cart in front of the horse, right?
Yeah.
You have to put the feeling in front of the manifestation.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. It's just doing it. And what I'm interviewing tomorrow, a magical manifestation queen, Kathleen Cameron, tomorrow. Do you know her?
No, I don't, but I'll definitely listen to the interview.
Yeah, you have to. Oh my gosh. Or just find her on YouTube. But yeah, listen to my interview. We're talking tomorrow. But super excited for this. And when I study or listen to some of her teachings, she says exactly what you just said. Wanting money puts you wanting money. And it's like, you want money means you don't have it. So then you're manifesting more of wanting money versus that's like the better explanation, right?
That's better. Well said. Well said.
Thank you. Yeah, because I am a teacher at my core. Like,
and I want to throw one more thing out there is when you start looking at your life, people freak out and go, oh, I'm not going to look there. It's not too horrible. I'm doing too many things wrong. And they freak out. So you just clear the board and just say, okay, I'm going to watch my thoughts. And then you have some bad thoughts and you notice it. Guess what? That's a success. You noticed that you had a bad thought. Now you could say, okay, I'm going to go this way. Every time you notice something negative or something that you don't want, that's a success because you noticed it. Most people don't notice it, right?
Yeah, self-awareness. Awareness is, you can't change anything that you don't know about, right? So self-awareness is huge. I've been on this journey for years, the self-development, growing, healing, evolving, studying the universal laws, studying the manifestation, and it's just been interesting, but I'm actually really enjoying this conversation with you. And I didn't know the spiritual piece with the flat earth. And you went from being semi-atheist to now being the spiritual being. So that's kind of how this changed.
I live within God. Just God has my back. This world just delivers everything that I want. Amazingly. And like some things happen that look really bad, right? And something happened this week, right? And I didn't freak out. I just like, okay, what do I do? How's this going to work out? it worked out so good. It's a positive. Everything
Yeah.
turns into a positive.
Right.
Two people can see the same thing, and a negative person goes, "Oh my God, that's horrible." The other person goes, "Wow, that's interesting," and then they grow from it. Right? Every single like I look back on my life, and man, there's a lot of stress and struggle, and I would never trade it in. You need all of that. All of that makes you grow. Right? When you say, "Oh, why did this horrible thing happen?" There's a reason. Allow the creator to show it to you.
Yes.
Grow from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's all happening for us, not to us. We're not victims.
Yes.
It's for us. And it's also through us. The more like when you study like the 3D is victim mindset, the 4D is it's happening for us. And then the 5D is it's happening through us. Like
There you
we're
go. I guess I'm 5D. I'm 5D. Thank you. I just
yeah, I want to
graduated.
be in the 5D. I like living in the 5D.
And
And if you study the Course in Miracles, that is what's true. This is
yeah.
spiritual. We're more spiritual and energetic than anything else.
So they want us to believe that spiritual doesn't even exist. That's why they foo it all. So if we're in a spiritual war, if you will, or a spiritual battlefield or a spiritual field, whatever you want to call it, and you don't believe that that even exists, you're going to have a hard time merging successful, right? They don't want us to know how magical this world is. Magic is the best word I have for it. I mean,
Yeah,
this world is
yeah.
magical. It delivers everything to you. Your thoughts create your reality. Oh, that's crazy, Dave. All right, I'm living proof of it. All right, and I see it all the time. I see it
Yeah,
all the time.
I agree with you on that. And then what about the ego? You want to talk about that real fast?
So that's a thing that holds people onto the ball. You know, people, you know, if you, accept the fact that the Earth is not a globe, then you have to admit that everything you've been taught your entire life is a lie, and most people can't do that. You know, you try to take a ball away from a baby, right? That's bad enough, right? Try taking a ball away from a grown man, right? It's like, no, that means I have to admit that, you know, I took 4 years of astronomy courses in college because I loved it so much and it was so easy for me. And I memorized and regurgitated everything beautifully, right? But it's all pseudoscience. When I look back, it's like the stuff that they were telling me, it's like there's no proof of any of it. And so I had to admit that I don't think I wasted it. That was great information that set me up for now because I know more about the heliocentric nonsensical system than the people that defend it. So all of this stuff, all of my life got me prepared for where I am right now. I could have never imagined this, right? 10 years ago, if you said, you're going to be talking about God, which was crazy, and the earth being flat, I would say you have no idea who you're talking to. You're out of your mind. And here I am talking to you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Right. Same with me. If
yeah,
like you told me 3 years ago I'm going to be living in Florida and having a podcast, I'd be like, what? That sounds crazy. But so you studied astronomy in college. Do you have a bachelor's degree?
I have a bachelor's degree, and my marketing. Majored in marketing. Right, that's really bad. And I basically had another major in psychology because I took so many psych courses. Um, and so marketing and psychology, awesome for the corporate slave system.
Yeah.
And I was awesome at it. I was great at it. Every company I worked for, I didn't work for that many companies, but every company I worked for, I rose to the top, created new things, and created, you know, just did all sorts of amazing things. I eventually left, started my own business. I did everything that you know people dream of. Most people don't escape corporate America. They just grow up. They keep getting promoted inside the corporation. I left. I became my own boss, right? And one of the things I put on my manifestation board was I want more free time, and so when I when I started my own company, hey, I had more free time. It was amazing because I'm my own boss, right? It was amazing. And then I said, I want more free time. And ready? And you have to be careful what you ask for. Ready? You're going to laugh. I said, I want more free time. And I developed insomnia. So I had more free time, right? So I had an extra 6 hours a day to do stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I walked away from my own company, which is like, it was going against everything I've been programmed my entire life to. Thank God my father had passed away already because he would have talked me out of it. Right. But I asked for signs. I got amazing signs. And I walked away and I didn't focus on money. I walked away from I was making a lot of money to I think I'll have enough money to pay my bills every month. I think, right? I walked from one to the other, and but because I didn't care, it was about the message. And now everything's working out. I mean, I do fine, and it's just such a journey. It's just an amazing journey.
Are you reading a book or have you written a book?
I have not written a book. They're making a movie about me, an autobiography or biography, whatever you call it. And I could write a book. It's just I don't have the time for it right now. I'm just doing interviews and talking to people. I
Yeah.
should take some notes for one day when I wanna write the book.
Yeah, right. I'm taking some notes too with
And
what's happening in my life.
like we go against everything they teach in school, well, the majority of the population. But in 2014, you mentioned flat Earth to somebody, they say you're crazy. Now you mention flat Earth to somebody, including you, you're like, you know, what's interesting. Let me talk to the guy. 2014, you probably never would have done it. Linda, there, a lot of your listeners are going to be like, why didn't you ask them about sunsets? Why didn't you ask them about seasons? Because we only have an hour running it. We only have a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
On my app. And again, the app is $3, right?
$3 a month and you can cancel.
No. $3 forever. Forever.
Wow.
One time cost. Now to go on the dating site, if you want to go on the dating thing or the social media side of the app, which 95% of the app is included in your one-time price of $3. It's $11 a year to do all the other stuff. So it's super cheap. But don't subscribe unless you want to, right? But where does the sun go section? Amazing, mind-blowing. Seasons, right? What about the tides? All the questions you have. Why the lie?
Touch on the seasons real quick. You can't touch on the seasons.
Yeah, no, I can. Let's go to seasons. So when you're closer to a light, to a heat source, it's warmer. Did you know that during our winter, we're 3.5 million miles closer to the sun in the north than we are during our summer? In the winter, we're closer to the sun than we are in our summer. That's weird. But the heliocentrists will say, well, that's only 3% of the distance, and it's really the angle of the tilt that matters. And it's such a bunch of nonsense. So here we are. You and I were outside, and we got somebody. It's cold outside, and somebody has a heat lamp, and they're holding it right over you. So you're warm because that heat is right over you. It's high in your sky. So when you look at that heat source, it's directly above you, and you're warm, and it's high in the sky. When I look at it, it's low in my sky, and it's far away. I'm cold. So this person walks over, not making it any lower, and it's getting lower for you, and it's getting higher for me. And now I'm warm, and you're cold.
Right.
My summer, your winter. That's how the seasons work on a flat Earth, because the sun goes from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn. There's tons and tons of information.
Right. How is the sun moving though? Is it
so again, we don't know what the sun is. Okay. I think there's a huge correlation to the sun, the SUN and the SON. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right? So the sun moves out and gets lower in the sky until the 21st of December, where it dies, and it sits there dead for 3 days, and then it rises on the 25th. It's reborn. That's weird, don't you think?
Yeah, Christmas Day.
Yes, and it's reborn. The story of the sun dying and being reborn. When you start looking into this stuff, right? And then everything you can say about Jesus is the same thing you can say about the sun. He's the light of our world. He provides food. He helps us see. He warms our hearts. He just everything. It's all about the sun. And Jesus walked on water. When you watch the sunset at the beach, let's say we're 50 yards apart on the beach. The sun is setting. You know how the line of the sun walks across the water right up to your feet? You'll see the glare of the sun on the water. Well, I'll see a glare coming to my feet. You'll see it walking on the water to your feet. I don't see yours. You don't see mine. So we have a personal relationship with the sun, right? So here, follow this for a second. It's not hard to follow. You can do this, right? So here is the globe Earth, and we have a 93 million mile away sun, and it's cool. Whoops. And then the sun comes over and it's still 93 million miles away and it's warmer. And then it goes over here, it's still 93 million miles away because this little difference doesn't mean anything, right? But on a flat Earth, we have a farther sun cold, warmer sun warm, closer sun warm, farther sun cold. So the sun just goes by, and this is the Tropic of Cancer just laid on a Mercator map, right? This is the Tropic of Capricorn. This is our winter because we're up here farther from the sun, right? In June, the sun's very close to us, and in December, it's very far from us. And on a flat Earth, so during our summer, the sun is circling close to us. And during our winter, the sun is circling farther from us, and the outer south has their summer. Just like I told you, it just migrates 6 months in, 6 months out. Yeah.
How long did it take you to figure this out?
I'm still figuring it out every day.
So, but you're a believer.
Oh, it's not here's the thing. I believe that I know that we live on a non-moving, topographical, non-rotating, level, horizontal plane, right? I know for a fact that we don't live on a lumpy rock surrounded by smooth curved water because there is no curve, surrounded by high pressure air adjacent to a void, a vacuum of no pressure, which is scientifically impossible, right? Flying through space at speeds that you can't even imagine. Let me show you one thing before, and this will be the last one, and then we'll wrap it up. Is in the heliocentric system. First, they want you to believe that this is what flat Earth is. Nobody believes that's what flat Earth is, except unresearched people that like to laugh at flat Earth, right? So here is where is it? So this is NASA's rocket sled. It's called the hypersonic sled track. It's going to go by. Watch it. See if you can watch it at Mach 8.6. Can't even see it. 8.6 times the speed of sound. If I had the sound on, it's shocking. It's just the shock wave of that is unimaginable. Could you imagine twice that speed? The answer is no. You can't imagine twice that speed, right? You can't imagine twice that speed. So you have to believe, right? In the heliocentric system, we're corkscrewing. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're going around the sun at 10 times that speed. The orbital speed around the Earth around the sun is 10 times faster than that rocket sled. And then we're chasing the sun at 100 times faster than that rocket sled. So you got this water ball flying in curved trajectories at speeds that you can't even fathom. But when we go out into nature, we see stuff like this and this. Beautiful. And this, right? This basically, lots of the stuff they put out there is to test our intelligence. Because if you believe that you live on a spinning ball, you'll believe that the boogeyman's going to bite you. And if you breathe on grandma, she's going to die. Okay? Right? You'll believe anything. You'll believe that Russia has nuclear bombs and Iran has nuclear bombs. That might be a new one to you. You might be new into this. On my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down, you'll see a big banner of nuclear explosions. Listen to that podcast. Listen to that podcast. Don't believe anything. This is Crow 777 Radio. He broke it down, shows you the evidence, and there's no way that you can listen to that podcast and walk away and believe that nuclear bombs are real. There's no possible way because they're not.
So that image that you showed, that was what they think flat Earth is not what it looks like. We're not floating in space. We're just flat somewhere, and then everything else is the universe.
So if I go on the app and I just type in map, and so this is the map that most of us, the most accurate map we have. It's called the Gleason's map. It was in all encyclopedias, schools, everywhere until in 1959, where they removed it and hid it. Right. So here's Australia, America, Australia, right? And the sun just circles around like this, and it's a local light. It takes its light with it, right? So real quick, now anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation, but I'm going to speculate right now, right? Some people believe that's it. Antarctica is the end of it. What if Antarctica was this circle right here? And out here is more land, extra territory. That would be extra terra. If somebody lived on the extra terra out here, they would be an extraterrestrial from the outer space.
Right. So you do believe in that.
Well, I do. Now, in the book section, if you go to the More Land tab, there's some amazing books. Amazing books. Great kids book. But there's a book called The Iron Republic, The Navigator Across the Ice Wall. Watch those, listen to those.
That was
This
my
one,
next question, like who your
yeah.
teachers, who are your biggest teachers of this?
I'm God is my biggest teacher. So I taught myself a lot, and there's other flat earthers out there that have done experiments. We've all kind of just worked together, and some of us have different beliefs. We're trying to figure it out, but we know that we don't know lots of stuff. But we all know that the heliocentric ball in a space vacuum is impossible. You can't have a vacuum of space with a high pressure gas system adjacent to it, right? Helium and hydrogen defy gravity, right? They float. But in space, our sun, the stars, they say are 99% helium and hydrogen. For some reason in space, helium and hydrogen collapse upon each other and form nuclear furnaces that burn for billions of years and never change. You know that they say our sun burns like 100 billion tons of fuel like every minute or every second or something stupid like that, right? For billions of years, and it hasn't changed. And somehow that helium and hydrogen has enough gravity to hold on to Pluto, but it doesn't have enough gravity to tug on our moon. When you look, it's so stupid. You're not stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, interesting. So interesting. Thank you so much. I'll tell you one last thing. I was at a home inspection. I used to be I am still a realtor here, but it's not my primary thing. But years ago, in Michigan, and I was at an inspection, and this woman brought her grandchild, and he was probably 4 years old. And he pointed up to the sun and he said, "There's God."
That's right.
And I literally was like, I think he's right. He was like, "See that? That's God."
You'll just I recommend people get the app, watch the daily video every day. If you think this is stupid, just watch while you're having your coffee, watch it and laugh. Just every day laugh.
But
After a couple days, you're gonna be like, wow, nobody watches real flat earth information and doesn't become a flat earther. It's only the people that Google flat earth and get fed nonsense that act like idiots and make just false claims.
Interesting. So interesting. Thank you. That's so interesting. So
Right.
people can find all your info though on YouTube and like listen to stuff or
So
no?
the best play I have interviews channels. I have a YouTube channel that has all short videos on it. All my stuff, and my ex is doing a lot on X. All my socials, everything can be found at flatearthdave.com. Just that's all you got to go. Flatearthdave.com. If you have a podcast or know of a podcast that might want to have this conversation, there's a contact Dave form on that website. Everything is there. The crash course is there. The app is there. All sorts of cool stuff. A t-shirt shop is there if you like this t-shirt. You can get that. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate the open-mindedness. And all I can say is do some research. I make it easy. The app makes it super easy to just get new information and just start watching. Nobody gets the app and then goes back to being a Glober. It just doesn't happen.
I have one question. Last question. Is everyone that is a flat earther spiritual?
Everyone that's a flat earther knows that there's a creator. Some people have different ideas, but everyone is brought to the creator. Flat earth brings people back to God. There's a passage in the Bible and other religious books that basically says, once you see my creation, the earth, you can no longer deny my existence. That's why the Satanists are trying to hide the truth of our world from you, because if everyone sees flat earth, everyone will know there's a creator, and then they lose control of us. The government loses control of our minds because it's hard to control people that know God exists.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me so much. Flatearthdave.com. I appreciate it. Send me a link when you put this up, and I'll share it on my social.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.